If you would, please stand with us for a moment of silence and as well the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Beth.
Rehnquist.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen. Huron.
Here.
Moaning.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
File.
Here.
All right. I'm looking for approval of the consent agenda as was provided you.
I'll make the motion.
Your Honor, I'd like to please pull number 8 off the consent agenda and move it to the regular agenda, please, for a small,
Explanation.
just a small explanation of what that is, please.
Okay. So,
I'll make the motion as amended.
all right. We have a motion with a second to approve the consent agenda, moving item number 8 from the consent agenda and putting that on the regular agenda. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right, and with that, I'm looking for approval of the full agenda with the addition of item 8 to the full agenda from the consent.
Second.
A motion with a second to approve the full agenda with the addition of the removal of, from number 8 on the consent agenda to that full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right. Let's take care of first the proclamation for February 2015 as Joy of Reading Month. Whoops. Thanks, Beth. Too many papers here. Proclamation for Joy of Reading Month, whereas reading is a skill that only gets better with practice and is essential to a child's success in school. And whereas there's more to reading than homework and class assignments, and whereas there are an endless number of fun and interesting books out there waiting to be discovered, whereas older students can use their influence to encourage younger students to read more, and whereas Norfolk's Junior Optimist Octagon International members believe that they can make a difference by encouraging their peers and younger students to read more books and thus improve their reading skills, and whereas the City of Norfolk values its young service leaders and their efforts to make a difference in our community by mentoring young readers and promoting catch and release book programs. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2015 as Joy of Reading Month in the City of Norfolk and encourage all citizens to take due notice of the observance. Mark, I see you're here. Jess, you want to come up too? We don't give you the opportunity very often to come on up here and talk about the importance of reading. So to both of you, for all your efforts into whatever it is that you do to make reading what has become, I believe, in this community. Thanks very much. And you don't have any of those notebooks?
No, not today.
I don't blame you. But I think it would be important when we talk about what's going to be going on with the benefits going to be out of that. I mean, it's just reading in general, and I think it's such an important piece to let this community know. So, sure, I think it'd be great. If you want to step over to, so we can mic it.
She's bailing on me.
Is she? She has a tendency to do that sometimes, Mark.
Well, Joy of Reading Month is something that Joy is the youth branch of Optimist International, and it's something that that internationally we promote is reading during the month of February. We have kids going in all the schools reading, and we're kind of actually overlapping this year with Read Aloud Norfolk has a bunch of Elephant and Piggy books by Mo Willem, and they're real popular books with young children. And we're going to be reading and distributing those. So the two groups are kind of working together this year. And Jessica is a part of Read Aloud Norfolk as well. Sundays are Children's Day Festival, which is way predates me. It's been going on for 30 plus years. We've been involved for the last 6 or 7 years, and we expect to give away anywhere from 12 to 1,500 books in 3 hours. That gives you an idea how many kids are going to be there, because they have to go around and do activities with booths, and they get tickets, and they get 10 tickets, they get a free book. So we'll have a lot of books being given away, so.
Well, again, I just appreciate your being here to let us know within the community what it is that you work tirelessly. And I could put a plug in for you, because on Saturday, they need to move those 1,500 books from one location to another, which, again, you know, any of you council that might be so willing to help him, he'd be more than happy to see you. So, again, Mark, thank you for what it is.
Thank you
do.
very much.
You bet. And now, let's see. I am going to advise you that nominations are now being accepted for the 2015 Edward I. Verzel Outstanding Citizen Award, and they will be accepted through February 28th, 2015, at the City Administrator's Office. So, if anyone has a name that they would like to see put forward as far as for consideration of this award, that's been a long time, I don't know how many years, but a long time. So, again, please take advantage of these and nominate those that you believe are deserving of that award. Yep, moving on, we're going to jump to number 8 from the consent agenda, which would be consideration of approval of the revised interlocal agreement as presented by the League Association of Risk Management with amended sections approved by the LARM Board of Directors at the September 24th, 2014 LARM Board meeting. I appreciate the suggestion of Councilman Mirren to actually let for a little discussion to be had on this. There's always questions within this community of LARM and our insurance practice. So again, I'm asking for consideration if I could have a motion for.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion with a second. Lyle, do you want to come up and address that? Our new risk management person here. You want to introduce
evening.
yourself?
This is quite the learning curve for me, so I'll give it my best shot, and I'll trust that my esteemed colleagues on both sides of the front can chip in where I may mess it up. But the interlocal agreement that we got from LARM recently, and I've read through, the way I understand it, sounds like it's similar to the insurance updates that you get at your house or car for vehicle or auto home insurance, that you changing modification of words inside there. And I can read you, it'll just take a second, some of the changes. They are very minor. And then I'll go on to explain just a little bit more. There was 3 changes. The first one was in section 8.17.2. Previously it read, to take all necessary precautions to safeguard the assets of LARM. And this time, the following has been added, and exercise fiduciary duties concerning those assets and overall operations of LARM. That's change number 1. Change number 2 was a little further down the page, 8.17.6, where previously it read, exercise such other powers as are necessary for the proper operation of LARM to carry out the terms of this agreement and to comply with the Act, rules, and regulations adopted by the Act under any state or laws, rules, and regulations. And now the following will be added, and the LARM bylaws. The third was a definition change from memorandum of coverage to coverage documents. And that's it. The price does not change, the coverage does not change, the relationship with the city, the community, and LARM does not change at all. Do you have other questions?
Any questions at all? Well done. Any questions for Lyle before we let him sit down? Again, it's pretty much a housekeeping, but I do think it was well explained to us, and we can all leave here knowing that nothing has changed as far as our financial commitment. Nothing has changed as far as the coverage that's provided us, so
That is
thank you
correct.
very much. And with that, a motion with the second has brought to the point of ready for your vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay, and now we're looking for consideration of approval to advertise for proposals to repair and to replace the roof of the City of Norfolk Administration Building at 309 North Fifth Street. Looking for a motion?
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion with a second. Discussion. Are you speaking to this, or? are we-
Well, you can go ahead. Go ahead, why don't you, while you're fresh up there?
Yep.
I don't want to steal your thunder or nothing. I don't know if you've been up on the roof lately or driven by much and noticed the wear and tear that's kind of taken place over the course of time on these wood shake shingles. To the best of our knowledge, they're potentially 20 years old, 25 years old is what we were thinking about. I was up there, well, I started here at the beginning of the year. And one of the first things Shane told me to do was start working on this roof project. So I dug around in the attic and found this that first week.
It's snow.
This snow, that is correct.
Have you been up there today?
And it's,
Yes, he has.
Oh,
It's the next picture.
okay.
It's a dream.
Oops. Sorry, Lyle.
unproportional, because it's hard to tell size, but we cleaned, actually Jim Dooley crawled in there. That was about 5 to 10 gallons. So this morning, when I was looking at that, went back up there and got another picture. Can I approach? It's a little easier to see that.
Sure.
This is what was up there again.
You guys been using that as a refrigerator?
It's kind of a crawl to get in there, but
Wow.
Is that over Shane's office?
that's actually, if you know where Shane's secretary Deb is, it's behind her office to the north, or behind her desk to the north.
That where the water comes in the spring in the summertime?
No.
Oh.
So this was from this weekend. I know it's been since the first week, because the first week was taken out. And there's a ventilation shaft that the wind must swirl with the north wind with the dormers, and must be the makeup of the building, but it swirls right down into that ventilation duct. So what we're looking at doing is taking off these wood shake shingles, replacing them, and I don't know how familiar you are with some of the water problems that apparently have been happening, but where the new building and old building come together, where the employee entrance is, there's been some water issues there. You can walk down the north corridor on the main level and see some water issues up there. Behind Deb's desk is a pretty large closet that's had some substantial water coming in. I went out there on Friday, and there's places where the shingles are missing, and the tar paper's gone, it's right down on the OSB. I brought down a 5-gallon bucket of shingles that were just laying in the gutters, and that wasn't even all of it. So it's time to replace those, or we're gonna have, frankly, I'm kind of surprised we haven't had more issues. Another thing that we're considering is up on the top, and I'm not sure the terminology exactly, but the cupolas, multiple, of taking those off. When I was in the attic, you can't get into them from there. When I crawled on the roof, you can't even see in, they're fake windows. And ideally, we'd like to put a ridge vent across the top of there to allow for better airflow. The removal of these would eliminate some need for the shingles, would allow for more roof ridge ventilation, and I think it would probably just match up more with what the neighborhood looks like. And so if you could look at some of the surrounding buildings, that's what our roof would be similar to.
Architectural shake-like shingle that you see in other. It really started showing up, Mayor and Council, after that big hailstorm. You know, like everybody, a lot of folks had new roofs put on after that. And our leaks started showing up after that, and we had significant damage to it too, our insurance adjuster said. So it is time. I know we've been here for going on 4 years or so, 3 years. It seems longer than 3 years, sorry. So it's time, obviously.
What did the insurance people say in terms of,
Said that we had damage and they paid some of the claim. I don't know exactly do you remember, Randy, off the top of your head, what the estimate, what the claim was for this
About
building?
115,000, I think. 115, 118. Something like that. So that's the roof project. We we considered, a 30-year versus a 50-year. But when I was talking to the gentleman at Permits and Codes, the staff there, they didn't really think it would probably justify the extra cost offset for the heavier shingles versus how many were damaged over the previous 5 years of hailstorms.
We had some roof vent boots, the sewer vent pipes, the boots were beat up from the hailstorm and leaking. So after we went up there and replaced some of those and tried to get the best seal we could, but we didn't quite get them all the way it looks, so we had to move forward. We're trying to wait to get through the winter time, in which we are, and then hit it first thing this spring so we get a good project done and then get good sealant over the summertime.
Any questions at all? For Lyle or for Shane? Okay. Thanks very much, Lyle.
Thank you.
So with that, we're looking to advertise for proposals. There's a motion with a second. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right. Next is consideration of ordinance number 5334, amending Chapter 2, Article 5 of the Code, and amending Sections 18 through 53 and 25 through 9 of the Code to remove references to Operations Manager contained therein and replace them with Risk Manager.
I'll make the motion to introduce number 5334 on first reading.
Second.
All right, a motion with a second for the introduction of discussion.
And Mayor, this is a housekeeping item for us to change titles. We had title changes with Lyle coming on as a risk manager, and Jim is the operations manager and supervising parks and streets. So this is just a housekeeping issue for us to make sure our code's right, assigning the responsibilities accordingly.
Okay. Any questions at all, council? Hearing none. Short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Chapter 2, Article 5 of the Official City Code and to amend Sections 18-53 and 25-9 of the Official City Code to remove references to Operations Manager contained therein and replace them with Risk Manager, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
And with that, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5334 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5334 on second and third.
Second.
Okay, you heard the motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5334 on second and third. Any discussion at all? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5334 carries on second and third.
Okay, and with that, I would ask for a motion to go into a closed session to discuss potential litigation.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor. Second.
All right, we have a motion with a second. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
All right, and I need to remind you, this closed session is to discuss potential litigation only. So off we go to the training room group.